So, my name's Brian. Can everybody in the back hear me? Yeah. Okay, just want to make sure. So I applied for the illustration major. A couple things about me. My name's Brian, as I said earlier. I'm currently 18, and I attended Mission San Jose, about to graduate in a month. So the schools I applied to, CalArts, Art Center, Otis College of Art and Design, Drexel, and basically all the CSUs. I actually forgot one more. I actually applied to CCA at the last minute. So I'm just going to show some of the stuff that I...
You have to also tell us, you applied to all these classes, all these schools, and which one did you get into?
Yeah, after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay.
So I'm just going to basically show some of the pieces that I put into my portfolio. So these were some of the... This is an oil painting piece. That one was a finishing piece that I did. And then an oil painting and actually oil pastel piece that I did. And then this is another piece that I had. It was actually just a quick thing that we did in class, and it actually turned out better than I thought it would. So actually all these pieces over to the right side was when I applied to Art Center. Their application is actually due around February, but I submitted mine at the end of December, and because of that, they contacted me, and they were asking for extra pieces, especially a lot of figure drawing pieces, and they wanted to see my sketchbook. So I just pretty much came here every weekend on Saturday nights and Sunday nights, and I just did figure drawing for the 3-hour AP classes here, and I just kept working on it, and also they wanted to see more stuff in my sketchbook as well. So I filled out, I think, 2 sketchbooks total, and then I think 3 notepads worth of figure sketches. Just more figure drawing stuff that they asked. And then the school I'll be attending in fall is Art Center. It's in Pasadena, slightly north of LA. And then why I chose Art Center was they have a great illustration program. It's a very well-known school and has a lot of great alumni. The people coming out of school, I took a look at the list. There's a lot of people doing a lot of great works even today. And then the faculty is very great. They have teachers who are also working in the field teaching these classes, and they also have a major focus on creating industry-level work. I actually attended the not orientation, but kind of student acceptance day over spring break, and they were saying that they don't actually have a foundation that a lot of schools have. They basically want you to just go straight into creating industry-level work.
Brian, before you were talking about Art Center and everything, can we just pass out your sketchbook so that people see your work?
Yeah. So this is a sketchbook that I brought to CalArts that I submitted to them, and then this is the one where I had to put extra work into for Art Center since they were asking for extra. And then just a couple pieces of advice for students. Stay focused. Just know what your end goal is, because it's going to be a lot of work. You think that you have a lot of time, but in reality, you don't have a lot of time. So that leads me to the second point, which is do not procrastinate. I left a lot of the pieces to the end. So yeah, just don't procrastinate on any of the pieces. To the third point, also just try your best. It doesn't matter if it's not your favorite piece, but as long as you put in a lot of work, I think that you'll continually get better. So just keep doing your best, and at the same time explore. So try different mediums and try different styles of art, especially in your sketchbook, because a lot of the art schools they want to look at your sketchbook and they want to see kind of your thought processes, and they want to see a lot of stuff that you're experimenting with. Like for your portfolio pieces, it's good to have a nice variety unless you're focused on a specific major. And usually if you're applying to a specific major, they'll tell you what type of pieces they're looking for. And the last 2 points: practice, practice, and always practice. No matter where you are, you should always practice, even when when it seems like there's nothing to do, like sitting on a bus. You could just take out your sketchbook and just sketch whatever you see on the bus. Those are always good places to practice, because just sitting at a table and drawing, you will come up with great ideas, but sometimes great ideas come out when you're not focused on coming up with great ideas. And then at the same time, and then at the end, just submit. Even like a lot of people, they're very harsh on their own work, but if you work really hard, you should always submit your work. And then it's like question and answers. So are there any questions that anyone has?
Before anything about, like Brian was talking about like a sketchbook, how come sketchbook is so important? When we are talking right now, I can see that some of our students are sketching. Yeah, just like, this is something, sorry, Christy, this is something that they do all the time, okay? Just like if you want to be in art major, this is something that when you sit down, that is something that you want to do. Okay? Just like, one time I went to a concert and Jonathan was sitting in front of me. And I saw that he was so focused, like drawing the back of the people and drawing the performer on the stage. And that is exactly what, if you want to get into the top art school, that is something fundamental, what you have to do. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, I can see that, like Christy and also Iris, they are all like working hard. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, actually, I'm really happy to see that. Even when you are like in the airport, if you are like sitting there, like sometimes even during the class time, not listening to the teacher, but still, if you are really like I'm sorry. So beautifully, okay? Okay, so that is something that, just like that would make your skill getting better and better. Okay, so that is, yeah, because we, every year, the director from the art center came to our school and to talk about their art program, because they contact me and know that a lot of our students get into their school and they are very top students and they want to know like what kind of training we get them. So, and when he was talking about the art portfolio, just like he taught us that the most important part is the sketch. That is something that we really want to see, because the final piece is something that they, just like in the future, mature artists can be developed, but they want to know your process. Okay, they not only want to see the final piece, but they want to see why you think about it, how you think about it. So that is something that is very important. It's like sketchbook, your ideas, and then that is from the sketchbook they can see the potential how you're going to become. Okay, so always have some sketchbook on you and always like draw if that is something that you're passionate about.
Like on your sketchbook, don't be afraid to like. A lot of students think they're going to mess up in their sketchbook. There's nothing to worry about in your sketchbook. A sketchbook is basically where you're dumping all your ideas, trying new ideas, trying different colors, trying anything possible that comes to your head. And it's a place basically where you can kind of, in a sense, mess up. But that's kind of what the schools, they want to see, what you're thinking and kind of where, kind of how you think as an artist. They're like seeing your art piece, you can. Like a final copy is just basically you just mastering one thing, but in a sketchbook you can see how an artist is working through different topics, like working through anatomy or working through different landscapes. That's basically what a sketchbook is for.
And the more practice, the better you get. And that is also the part of the thing, the advantage of having a sketchbook. Okay. Any questions for Ryan?
Yeah, Art Center's portfolio is so specific. Do you end up creating one for Art Center and then create another one for
I looked at the Art Center portfolio requirements compared to the illustration requirements for other schools. Most of it's pretty similar. So I began by working on the pieces that were shared, and then I started working on specific pieces that were separate for each, from each portfolio.
How much did you think your academic grades and public, test scores help you audition into all these great schools?
It's like for those schools, it's not really a top priority for them. A lot of them, they want to see your portfolio and your sketchbook. For your GPA, in a sense, it's just a sense for them to look at what kind of student you are. If you're a hardworking student, they just want to know if you're willing to put in, if you're going to put in a lot of effort into something that you put a lot of focus on. That's basically how they look at academics.
That is something that Brian was worried about. He was like, if I go to the seminar, they are going to ask me about my SAT score.
Yeah, I only took the SAT once, so yeah.
Yeah, I said, well, don't worry, just say what you want to say. Yeah. Any more questions? Right now, I'd like to introduce Alisha. Yeah, Alisha has been with me for a while with Chinese painting. At that time, she was really young, and as you can see that she was really, really talented. Everything, just technically, she is so strong. And when I had this school, and she started learning sketching and learning all the foundation, oil painting, and then taking APR. And when she was only 10th grade, she got into the APR program, in Mission San Jose High School in Grade 5. She is technically, she is really, really strong, and I was not quite surprised at all when she got to CalArts. Yeah, CalArts is the best, actually it's the best, animation, character animation school. We can say that in the world, okay? And it's very hard to get in. And this year, we're so proud that we have 2 top students got into this school. And one is Jonathan and one is Alisha. Yeah, so Alisha is going to talk about her portfolio and share about her experience.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Alisha. I'm 18 years old and I also went to Mission San Jose like Brian. And my major is animation. So I just want to talk about a little bit about why I chose animation as a major. So like most of you here, I've been drawing ever since I was little, and it's just something I did. I didn't really know why or how I began. So when high school came around and I was thinking about what kind of career or major I wanted, I explored a lot of different things that had to do with art, such as graphic design, or also considered computer science and UI UX because it has to do with art and design. But what made me really know for sure that I wanted to do animation was after I went to CSUP, which is a summer program at CalArts, and I went there for animation, and just being in the community there and actually doing animation, something just clicked, and I knew that animation was what I really wanted to do. And just thinking back, my childhood was I still remember all the cartoons that I grew up with, and I just think it would be so cool to get back to this and to be one of the creators behind one of the shows and to help tell stories to kids and to make a positive impact on them. So yeah, that's basically why I chose animation. Now moving on to the colleges I applied to. So I applied to both art schools and regular universities. For all of these, I applied for animation as my major. So I'll first go over the art school. So my top choice was CalArts, of course. It's one of the top, has one of the top animation programs, and it has really great connections and a really rich history. So that was definitely my first choice. My second choice was USC, which is University of Southern California. So this is a regular university, but it really appealed to me because you could get a really great general education while also they have a pretty good program in animation, and it's in the film school, so they have great connections too. And I'm interested in some other things besides animation too, so I thought it would be great to be exposed to like a bigger diversity of students and to learn animation alongside that. So that was why USC was my second choice. So I also applied to 3 other art schools, RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, School of Visual Arts in New York, and CCA. Those were kind of like my backup schools that they still have great animation programs. Then I had 2 other regular universities, Loyola Marymount and San Jose State, which Tina said has like a really great animation and illustration program. And I actually went to San Jose State a lot for my figure drawing, for my portfolio, and I thought the community there, the club Shrunken Headman, it was like a really great community, and I felt that it was like everyone was really nice, and it was, yeah, so San Jose State is a really good choice too for animation. Yeah, so as she said earlier, I'll be attending CalArts in the fall. So the reasons why I chose this school was like mainly because of Seesaw. As I said earlier, it just made me know that CalArts would be right for me. Like both the campus and like the type of people that are there. It has a really strong community, like the student community there. And what I also liked about CalArts was its emphasis on student films. A lot of other animation schools, I think you only make like 1 or 2 films, like your stay there, like a thesis film at the end or something. But for CalArts, you make a film every year, so 4 films, and there's also like smaller films that you get to make, like 48-hour films or like 1-week films. So I think that making films is really important, especially for animation, because like if you're like the only person in charge of like the whole process, it's really good to help you figure out like which part of the pipeline you like and like what kind of direction you would like to go after you graduate. So I really like that about CalArts. And finally, the location. CalArts is located in Valencia, which is like an hour-ish away from like LA. So like it's like kind of close to the industry, but like still a nice area. So here's my portfolio. Oh, so like before I go into the portfolio, I'll just say like what CalArts requires briefly. So the most important thing that they want is figure drawing, like technical figure drawing, but also like technical but also expressive. So half of the portfolio is figure drawing. They require like 15 observational pieces. And then the rest of the work is like creative work. So it's basically like whatever you want kind of, but like it should be like visual development or storyboards or like your ideas basically. They just want to see that you can tell a story visually. So yeah, I'll be showing my portfolio. So these are my figure drawings. Okay, how long should I stay on this slide?
Or you can stay as long as you want. Yeah.
So with my figure drawing, I tried to include a lot of like diversity, both with like my approach and the different types of mediums I use. So as you can see, like I used like different colored paper and like I mainly used charcoal because that was just what I was comfortable with. But you guys can also experiment with like a lot of different types of mediums. I did both like contour and like some more rendered stuff just to show like both gestures and longer poses. So I think the main thing is like diversity. You want to show that you can experiment and do different types of things with your figure drawing. Because figure drawing is like a really technical thing, but it's like cool if you can stylize it, because that's what animation is all about, to like stylize things and like make them seem interesting. Okay, so this is like my creative work. So these 2 panels are like a story I made. So on the left we have like a character design, and then on the right it's a color script, which is like basically before they make a film, they usually have like a color artist do like key moments in the film to determine like the mood and the environment. So like I just did like a short thing for that, for like my own story. And in the description, I really encourage you guys to like write things in the description when you submit your pieces. So like write about like your story and like how you came up with it and your thought process, because I think that's really important for giving context to your work. Here's another story I did. So there's characters, props, environments. Yeah, and by the way, these are pretty much all digital on Photoshop. So yeah.
Is it digital drawing?
Oh, you can go back. Yeah, so these are digital drawings on Photoshop. Yeah. And some of the sketches are with like pencil, and I just like scanned it and then put it into Photoshop to like lay them out. storyboard I did. Yeah, just like a simple thing to show like storytelling and like movement, stuff like that. I wanted to talk about my experience last summer. I went to Art Center for their summer program in entertainment design. So it's like different from Brian's program, but basically like after Seesaw, I knew I wanted to do animation, but like there's a really great program at Art Center too that's for like concept art, concept design. And I thought that could, like, after you graduate from that program, you can also like go into like an animation type path. So I was interested in that program too, and so I went to Art Center for a month, and it was really, really intensive, but it really pushed me to improve my designs. But after I realized that like the environment at Art Center, because it's like a school, it's like a commuter school, so like you have to live off campus. So I felt like that wasn't really for me personally, but I think it was a great experience for helping me to like eliminate the choice, because the two portfolios for Art Center and CalArts are really different, both for like entertainment design versus animation.
Yeah, I think that can you tell us what is the difference between entertainment design, like in Art Center, and also like CalArts?
Yeah.
What is the requirement difference between these two schools?
Yeah, for sure. So entertainment design is you're designing assets for the entertainment industry. So you're creating concepts. So I think the 4 different types of entertainment, like things you can design, are characters, vehicles, props, and environments. So you're creating like you're providing many different types of like many different concepts for the same design, kind of. And when I was at Art Center and I was like looking at those student work and stuff, the entertainment design program I feel is more like realistic and like geared towards like live action or games. There was a lot of like mech, like sci-fi stuff like that. CalArts Character Animation is different because first off, animation includes a lot of things besides concept design. There's like storyboarding or like visual development or like color work, stuff like that, and the style is just very different. With animation, the characters are much more like round and like a lot more stylized, as you guys like see like the animation around like Disney or like DreamWorks, stuff like that. So I think that's the main difference, like the stylistic difference, and also like the work that we produce.
Yeah.
If that helped. Yeah.
So, after you attended the Art Center Entertainment Design Summer Camp, do you think what kind of, in which way that help you application to the CalArts?
Oh, okay. So it definitely helped me just like because since the program was very intensive and it really it was like very structured and it taught parts of like characters, vehicles, and environment. Like they still have to do with character animation. And just like the work ethic I developed there, and like yeah, even though like the styles are kind of different, there's a lot of overlap between the two programs, and the work that comes out, like it's even though like it's kind of different, like the process is still the same. Does that kind of make sense? And I used like one panel from like this is from Art Center, so like this is like part of the portfolio. I ended up with after I went to the Art Center Summer Intensive. So yeah, it still like helped in my portfolio. But basically, I think the most important thing I got out of it was like eliminating that choice. But I think if you really wanted to get a feel for like CalArts, you should definitely try to go to CSUN, because it's like a lot more similar to like what you're going to be doing at college. Does that make sense? Okay.
So did you apply the character animation or experimental animation?
Oh, I applied to character animation. Yeah. So here's just some advice for you guys. Try to attend pre-college programs if you can. I think it's like a really great way to get a feel for the school and also the type of program at the school. Also, every year there's National Portfolio Day. It's in San Francisco. If you don't know, it's where a lot of different art schools have admissions representatives, and you can like line up and they can go over your portfolio. And if you're like a junior or something, I think that's like a really good time to get your portfolio reviewed and get really good advice for when you're actually making your application. And like as Brian said earlier, we should definitely start early because and like don't procrastinate, because it's like a pretty intensive process. And some of the work that I showed, I did it like a year and a half in advance, and I didn't know that I would use it, but I ended up using it because I didn't have enough time to produce other stuff. So definitely start early. Don't think that like later I'll be better and then I'll make better work, because like you never know until you do it. So definitely start early and prioritize, because in senior year there's going to be like a lot of stuff, so you just need to know how to manage your time. Yeah, good luck to everyone who's applying this year. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a question. You mentioned about the pre-college programs. So do they provide this information in the portfolio day as well?
Wait, sorry, could you repeat
The
the question?
pre-college programs
Yeah.
you mentioned, I believe you're saying after 11th grade, students can apply and go for pre-college programs. So do they provide this information during portfolio day as well, or we just have to go through the colleges that we are interested in?
Oh, do you mean to like find out about the different college, pre-college
Pre-college
programs?
programs.
Oh,
They-
so like pre-college programs, I think you can find out about them online. You can just look at the colleges that you're interested in and then like see if they offer programs for that. And also like, I think most pre-college programs are for like freshmen to junior year, so you don't have to be in. National Portfolio Day is for like reviewing your portfolio, but I think they will also like help provide information with that too.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay, right now we
Oh,
are
no.
going to have Jonathan prepared a lot of stuff to share.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's willing to share.
So I put less stuff on the slides because I thought I was just going to like talk, and I'm probably just gonna talk. And just yeah. Hi, I'm Jonathan. I applied to CalArts and Sheridan, and and also SJSU and CSU Fullerton, but I didn't put that up there, and I got accepted into only CalArts and CSU Fullerton and SJSU. Alright, cool. Moving on. Hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm 18. Oh, wait, that was the wrong slide. Okay, well, okay. I did not do that part. Alright, cool. So, I enjoy doing a lot of stuff in my free time. Like, I like reading sometimes, and I also enjoy, I like running. And drawing. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, I also like going out into nature and like going camping and going hiking. Like, I enjoy that a lot. Cool. Now you know me. So these are the colleges that I applied to. So I'm going to talk about like why I applied to each one. So CalArts, like this, I actually didn't know about CalArts until I think like sophomore year, and or I knew about it briefly because one of my teachers from school told me about CISA, and they were like, oh hey, I see you drawing all the time, so you should apply. And I was like, oh sure. I applied that year and didn't get it, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna try to get it again next year. And I think that was the time when I actually learned like about what CalArts was, and like the reputation that it has. And I was like, huh, cool. And the reason, and like I learned more about that, like what CalArts really was later on. The reason that I applied to it was also because of like the student films and like the kind of work that goes on there. Like the student work there is pretty interesting, and also like the faculty, like some of the faculty, I'm like, they're really, I don't know, like they seem really knowledgeable, and from the brief interactions that I've like talked to them, like they seem like the type of person who I would want to learn from. So I think it was more like a personal choice. And RISD is also a really great choice for art. Honestly, for RISD and Sheridan, I kind of applied to them like just to apply to them. Like to be honest, like after CalArts, I kind of like lost my momentum a little bit. So RISD and Sheridan, like I still apply to them, but if you want to apply to a school, I would suggest, like, strongly suggest spending time and actually preparing a lot of stuff for each school. Like I know some of my friends who like took the time to prepare a lot of work in the summer beforehand for each and different for each school that they wanted to go into or wanted to even apply to, and they ended up getting into like most, if not all of them. So if you really want to get into a college, I would suggest spending the time, because if you spend the time and really figure out like what they want, then I think that you will have a really big chance. Like as long as you take the time to like really go for it. Like I personally feel like college is not as out of reach as a lot of people think. Like it seems like a really far off thing, like, oh, college. But I feel like as long as you work for it, you got this. But I didn't work for those as hard, so I didn't got this. So I will be attending CalArts in the fall, and I chose this because of multiple reasons. And first I like the program itself. It like involves a lot of self-exploration. I think from the different assignments that I've seen like students there work on, it's pretty open-ended. Like they kind of like push you to explore how you draw and how you do your storytelling like pretty personally. Like they don't necessarily have a super regimented way of telling you, oh, you must draw this certain way, you must like do this. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Like being able to do a lot of self-exploration in terms of art, and also being able to create 4 different student films, like end of the year films by senior year, is also pretty great. And I think a little bit of a reputation also played into it. I was like, hey, like I didn't know about that school before, but like from hearing, I remember having this conversation with like Tina and Alisha, I think, like during class, and they were like, dang, like this school's really great. Hey, look at this person who goes to the school. And I was like, oh damn, like that's really good stuff. So I feel like it's like the reputation from a lot of the students who go there. A lot of this like alumni from there and like the students who go there, like their work is pretty cool too. And I think I looked through the different students who go to all the different schools, and I kind of felt like I just vibed with the school the most. I don't know how to explain that. Okay. And also I went for the character animation program. Like I said, the faculty has like a lot of great people, and also yeah, it's just the program itself is a really nicely regimented program. Cool. So I'm going to go into my portfolio. I'm going to like talk briefly about each one. So I went to figure drawing every single week at Berkeley. I tried to go as often as possible because I knew that I needed to get my skills level up. So I also went to CISA 2 years. So in my sophomore to junior year summer and then junior year to senior year summer. So from my sophomore year to junior year, I went to visual arts. And I think I went to a couple of the animation talks. Like you're able to go into any other department to see their what's going on in their department and their performances, like the dance performances, music performances. Anyways, when I went to their talks, I was like, this seems like the right thing for me. Oh, and a brief background about why I chose animation as like the path that I wanted to take. So I've always really wanted to like make people feel things, like feel certain emotions when they see something or like when they get into a space. So when I was little, I also was really inspired by the Disney Imagineers and like the work that they do in like the theme parks, and I was like, it's really cool to be able to like create a space, like a fake space, to emulate something that might be in this world or might be out of this world or something that's just like completely made up, and being able to transport somebody through like the sights, the smells, and like the heat sounds around them, and just to be able to make all those things happen, to be able to make somebody feel any kind of emotion or feel like they're transported into some place of awe and wonder, makes me feel like I want to be a part of that, you know? So, but I wasn't really sure how to do that. So, and I thought that you had to go through architecture and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, that's not for me. And I knew that I really enjoyed drawing. Like, I've been drawing a lot since I was little. So, I kind of just applied both of them and went for animation instead. I think I made that decision in freshman year. Like, I really started drawing a lot more then and started looking up to a lot more artists who were in the industry, and I was like, hey, the work that they're doing is really cool, and I think like if I worked really hard, maybe I can like join them. That was my wish and hope then. So this is one of the figure drawings that I did. I went to Berkeley every single week, and they have really great sessions on Fridays and Saturdays. Anyways, I would suggest going figure drawing and like doing observational drawing as much as you can, because honestly that's the quickest way that you learn. I don't necessarily think like you would learn as quickly if you just learned from a book or like if you just did very classwork. I think you learn the most when you just like really apply yourself and like push yourself to go outside and like or like trying to push yourself beyond the boundaries. Like it's easier, or how do I word that? Yeah, just draw as much as you can. Anyways, this is one of my pieces. Oh, I sat here for like 2 hours just doing this, and I colored this afterwards. So I just took a picture of where I was so that I have like a reference of what the colors were, and I drew this in pencil, and I used wash and watercolor afterwards. Yeah, CalArts requires a lot of observational drawing. So I would suggest getting on that train as soon as possible. It doesn't matter like what kind of medium you use. You could be using crayon, or like you could be using a Crayola marker, and just go for it. And these are some of my other observational works. So they also require you to draw animals a lot. So starting like last May, I started going to the zoo a lot more. I got a membership pass, and I just went there like, I think I went there a total of like 7, 8 times over the past year. And I feel like it's a really great place. It's really, really hard to capture animals on site because animals keep on moving. So I'd suggest like just practicing as often as you can. And so I had like several portfolio reviews at CISA last year. I went for animation. And during that time when I was at CalArts, I asked to have a portfolio review by the admissions officers there. This was not part of CISA. Like I just asked because they still had offices going on. Like they still had people there. So I just asked to have a portfolio review, and I brought my stuff in. And to be honest, like she was very honest with me, and she brought me down a lot. And she like even told me to like really change up a lot of things that I was doing. And I think you should really listen to what people say. Like whether or not it's like hard to hear, like it might be hard to hear at the time, but I do think that like just hearing the response and like the feedback that I got from them really, really helped. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say like the things that she said. Like she was like, she was, don't use color until you know how to use color. Like just stick to black and white now. And also, yeah, none of these can work. And also, these pages are really hard to look at. So I brought my sketchbook in, and she basically told me like none of these are working out because they were really scattered. So they kind of like, they ask you to kind of regiment your sketchbook a little bit, which is kind of bad. Like Brian was like, oh hey, you should draw whatever in your sketchbook. And I agree. I think that you should draw whatever in your sketchbook. But if you want to apply, you should hone it in a little bit. Like really take your time to think about like the purpose of what you're drawing, like your intention of drawing something. Don't just draw something because like, and this is also something that she told me. Don't just draw something because you're like, hey, I'm drawing. Draw something with a purpose, draw with an intention. Like if you're drawing a person on the bus, then like, why are you drawing that person on the bus? Is it like because you really like their expression, or maybe it's like that really cool mustache that they have, or something that you find interesting about them. Or maybe you're like, hey, I want to practice old people, and that guy's old. And like, you gotta have like some sort of reason to do something. Like, even if it's like a really simple reason, like, oh, I think it's pretty. Like, that's also like a reason. Like, at least have something to back up the, why you're doing something, I think. I think that's also pretty important from what you told me. And so yeah, here's some dogs, and this is a cafe downtown. Like, I spent a lot of time there too. That was a 2-hour thing. Yeah, here's some of my portfolio work. Honestly, okay, take your time and like really do as much as you can right now. Because in the last couple of weeks, I really had to like get into gear and like do as much as I can. I pretty much didn't sleep those 2 weeks, and that's not an exaggeration. I pretty much literally did not sleep. Like for 3 days, I think I only got like 2 hours of sleep, and then like from there on out, I didn't really get much sleep either. I just kept on working because I realized that I really needed to finish like my entire portfolio, and even though like you might think like, oh, what I'm doing now is not necessarily going to impact what I'm going to do later. Like every single little bit of what you do right now will eventually affect where you end up. Like it sounds like really serious, like oh, you gotta like be very stringent about all the things that you do now. But you don't really. You just gotta like recognize that like whatever you're doing now, it will have a greater effect later on. Like just keep on drawing, just keep on like working as much as you can. Like work your hardest right now so that you can reap the rewards later. Yeah, I also used a couple of pieces from like the previous years. Like I used one piece even from like my first year at CISA, which was an acrylic painting. So literally you can submit anything as long as like it's relevant to them. Like it doesn't even have like, I know animation sounds like a super far off world, like you have to do like specific things to do the animation, but honestly just keep on drawing and then you can do it, I think. Anyways, yeah, this was done in the last week. This was also done then. So I just, for all these drawings, I basically did a pencil sketch and then scan it into my scanner and then just digitally colored them. Alright. Just draw what you like too. Like this is a bow because I really enjoyed bows. And this is for a this was a project that I worked on with my friends, and we're still doing it because it's hard to print things. But this is from like the zine that we're working on, and like anything that you're doing will impact what you're like what I said, like anything that you're doing can and will impact how things turn out in the future. So even though like this was just a side thing that I did with my friends, like it still ended up being in my portfolio because I liked it enough to be there. So yeah, don't be afraid to like just work as hard as you can, even on like the side things, and enjoy. Like this was kind of more enjoyable than a lot of the portfolio work because like this was on my own terms. So just like do as much work on your own terms while you can. Like you don't need to like, I know that college applications are like really stressful, but like don't think that you have to just draw for college, because it's not a good mindset. Oh, here's another storyboard that I did. This was also in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Cool. There's not much of a backstory behind to this. I like cars, and I enjoy drawing taxis. And also gas stations are pretty cool. So, just draw what you enjoy. And I personally I like working with like shapes a lot. I have more work that I brought too. I also brought my sketchbook, so if you want I can like and like I also brought some of my old, really old sketchbooks to motivate you and tell you like, hey, even if you're like not in a great place now, you can get better. Alright, this is from 7th grade. I will regret this later. This was my CalArts sketchbook. Alright, and I also, okay, I had this mindset where I was like, oh, this sketchbook is gonna be my CalArts sketchbook, like all the way through. And like ever since I think junior year. So yeah, these two were my would have beens, but like were not. So this one was like I think early in. I started this early in. Oh, that one's like really bad. So.
The one the lady doesn't like.
Oh, this one. Okay, so like she was like highlighter colors are really intense, and like. Oh, and draw all the time, by the way. Like, literally, I have this reputation amongst my friends of being the one that could carry around sketchbooks to random events. I was drawing at prom last year, so like, don't be afraid to draw, just like whatever. Like, she really did not, like, I used Crayola marker for a lot of this, and she just did not have it at all. Like, yeah. Anyways. Have fun with that. This is like this. That was the first. This is the second, and that was the actual one. Oh, and I also went to CTNX. Oh, and so do as many things as you can. Like last year, I submitted for TAFE, which is the Teen Animation Festival. Film International.
International.
Yeah, Film International. Festival. What?
Festival.
Okay. Anyways, it's down in Walt Disney Family Museum, which is out in SF, and I think it's a really great opportunity if you want if you want to apply, you just have to make a film, and I think the application date is around March, so that's also after CISA application. So if you made something for CISA, submit it. That's what I did. And there I met like a few people in the industry that gave really good advice, and they also told me to go to CTNX, which is like this big expo down in Burbank, and that was. Honestly, like it's not a small feat to do that. Like I had to get out of school a little bit early to go to the airport and then like get down to Burbank and then go there, and it was like a several day thing. So it's like if you can't do it, don't stress about it. But like it's really not that important to go right now. But it was super helpful, I would have to say. I went and I got to talk to John Mahoney, which is also on the board at CalArts. So I think that part also helped a lot. Like he looked through my sketchbook and he was like, oh, like you like this, and like to take things out. Like they don't like things that you stick in. Like they don't like it when you like stick things over your sketchbook. Like because honestly, like there's nothing to hide unless it's like maybe a very personal passage. You're like, I don't want them to read about this, so like you can put a post-it on that. And, like just don't glue it down. Like they'll respect it. Like they're not gonna like flip over the post-it to like read your deepest darkest secrets. But I also brought like a small portfolio there, so it just like put together some of my work. And like he also pointed out like some pieces that he was like, oh, don't put this in there at all. And I thought that was like super helpful because that ended up changing like around my portfolio a lot. So some of these pieces, like this one, I ended up putting in there. Like this is an acrylic piece, and this is also like something that I did on Instagram. There's this thing for May. I think it was like mermaid. So it was like, oh, hey, I want to do that. So I ended up also putting that together with this because they both had mermaids, and I was like, hey, mermaids. So and they kind of went together. So yeah, I also brought this to CTN, and he also created that. And yeah, there's a lot more, but if you want, you can come to me after. And I also brought like a lot of my figure drawings because I didn't put much into the actual presentation. I was just going to talk. All right, let's see. Oh, here's one. So this was an Indian restaurant that I sat in front of for a long time. They came out and gave me tea too, and also they invited me inside for their lunch buffet, which was really nice of them. So yeah, go out and draw, everybody. Get free food. This took a long time, but yeah, like I'd say just like draw. Just draw and like really observe what you see. Like don't draw what you think you see. Just like pay attention to like really. I don't know how to explain that better. Like really just like draw exactly how you see things. Yeah, there's no better way to say that. Alright, I also have a lot of figure drawings here. Don't be afraid to use different medias when you're doing figure drawing either. like I kind of experimented around a little bit. Like there's some things that there's a little bit of watercolor here and there, and there's also pencil, there's charcoal, there's pastel, there's all sorts of like weird jib jabs. So if you want, like you can come up after and like look through if you want. Cool. What else? Oh, there's a lot of things that I brought that were also in the portfolio. But alright, let's see. Most of these things were drawings that I drew. So this was the 2-week period drawing. Like a lot of this, it doesn't have to be like, yeah, these were just like random characters that I drew. And here's a lady on a dock because I like fish. I like going to aquariums a lot. So just draw what you enjoy again. But yeah, if you want, you can go through that too. So advice, let's see. I try to be attentive at all times, so I try to really be present, like stay in the present, and like be attentive to what's going on, because all of it will like kind of influence you. Like it's all good content. Like whatever you see around you, even like the person who's like sneezing in the corner, and you're like, that's a cool sneeze. That's also good content for you to hold on to. And keep drawing. So like, just bring your sketchbook everywhere. Bring just a pencil or a pen. It doesn't have to be super complex. Also, I suggest getting yourself like the little compact watercolor set. They're really helpful too. Oh yes. Spend more time like doing what you want to do now. Just like keep on drawing and keep on working right now. It'll help you lots. And also talk to people. Like, honestly, I feel like networking is like such a big thing. It sounds a little bit scary, but honestly, I feel like networking is just talking to people and like hanging out and like getting to know people better. Like when I was at CTNX, I saw a lot of people like thinking that they were networking, but like they really weren't. They were just going around like, oh, I want to collect business cards, and they just kept on going around taking business cards, not actually talking to the people. But I feel like the real connection is when you talk to the people, just like people to or person to person. Because honestly, everybody around you is just another really grounded person to have a good conversation with. So everybody just wants to have a good time and find that human connection. So talk to them. Just submit. Like honestly, I was, to say the least, very, very nervous to see my outcome, because I kind of low-key put all my eggs into one basket. But just submit, like whether or not you think you'll get in the very end, still submit what you have at the moment. And also don't procrastinate, please. I submitted like in the last few days, and it's not a good experience. Like, I have some friends who like submitted like weeks in advance, and they still got it. Like, you don't have to like get your work to the best point that it can possibly be. It just has to be like at a point where you're like maybe comfortable with it, or like, and you also want to like give yourself time to like just live. Like, don't just bury yourself in the work, because in the end that will just kind of be detrimental to your life. Like, for some time, like I kind of like veered away from talking to my friends. Like even like during lunch, like I was just like drawing right next to them. Like I talked to them like very casually. Like it wasn't like a nice conversation, like really deep down conversation. So I'd say like really balance your time well. Like, and also find the time to do that now, because you're obviously going to be able to use that life skill later. Like whatever you do now, again, that's what you do later. Or later. And always put your best foot forward. Like try your best, no matter how small the task is. So like at CISA, we got to do, for example, like zoetropes. Like even like, so zoetropes are like the little strips of paper that you get to put into like the container, and you spin the container around and you look through it and you're like, oh, okay, it's moving. And just spend as much time and just like try your best at everything that you do, and honestly have fun. Like don't stress yourself out about things, like trying your best, but I suggest like don't just like pass it off as another assignment that doesn't really matter. Like everything kind of impacts you. Again, I keep on saying that. Every little thing counts. Yep. Draw, keep drawing. Yep, just keep drawing. Like literally just keep drawing. Like if you want to do art, like that's basically the #1 thing that you gotta do. I don't think there's like too much involved. Like there's obviously a lot of steps and a lot of things that you need to do, but as long as you keep drawing, you'll get there. All right, cool. Any questions? All right.
What are like
Yes.
the things that tell you not to interfere?
Oh, okay. I think I made a list actually in one of the other sketchbooks. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, wait, not that one. The other. Oh no, that one. All right. Sorry, I'll give it back to you. All right. Oh, talking to her was really scary, but I think it's important to talk to people. Also go to National Portfolio Day. That'll also help too. Let's see. You know what? It's not in this sketchbook. It's in my CISA sketchbook. Okay, cool. Never mind. But I'll still speak on that. There's like, don't just let's see. Don't overlap your drawings too much because like they want the visual impact. Like something that she told me was always remember that there's a viewer to the sketchbook. I know that sounds really weird, like as in like you're drawing in your sketchbook, your personal sketchbook for somebody else. But like recognize that like they're flipping through these really fast. So if they're flipping through and they don't see something that they immediately want to go back and look at, or like doesn't have enough visual impact for them to be like, hey, I want to like spend more than a single second just flipping through. Like if something is just like all black and white and it's like very hard to read what each individual item is, they're not going to spend the time to like recognize like, oh hey, this is a foot, or this is a person sitting on the subway. Just be very conscious of like what you're drawing and putting into your sketchbook, and also kind of like have a slight kind of layout. Like she's recommended this book called, shoot, it was like, yeah, The Art of Urban Sketching. Yeah, okay, The Art of Urban Sketching. So it's basically a book of people who like go out in the world and sketch, and their works are amazing. But yeah, I think that also helped a little bit because like I was like, hey, I should just go out and sit in a place and draw. Also get yourself a little stool. Like I had a stool from like, so I did Boy Scouts too, and so I had a little like camping stool that I could go take with me on backpacking trips, and that really helped because I sometimes forgot that stool, and when I just sat on the ground, it was really uncomfortable to draw with a huge drawing board. So yeah, get yourself a little stool because that will help in the future. What else did they tell me not to put in the sketchbook? Honestly, oh, they told me to do more storytelling, like more storyboards, more like movie, film studies, and so that was something that John Mahoney told me. He was like, hey, like you should do some film studies in here, and also draw more animals, draw people, draw buildings, draw cars, vehicles, everything, and do your own designs in there too. Like I had a page of like just like random cars in the beginning of my CalArts sketchbook, and he was like, hey, like this is really like interesting, like just seeing like different cars, like just like my approach to drawing them. I think, at least in my mind too, like design was also like a really like guarded subject. Like it was kind of like, hey, design is like a very up there thing. Like it's very hard to do. Like seems very far off. But I think design is just like your approach to how you interpret something. So just like show them how you see the world. Like that's I think the best advice that I can give for that. Any more questions? Yes?
Do you have to show improvements in the sketchbook?
I think improvement comes naturally. Like in your sketchbooks, like from me seeing like my sketchbook from a year ago, or even from like half a year ago, like I don't like try to necessarily like, I don't intentionally tell myself like, oh, I need to improve. But like if you just keep drawing and then keep like finding out like what you enjoy drawing and like just exploring how you draw something, like in just keep on doing that, or in constant practice of that, you will eventually improve. Like just I'd say draw every day. Like sometimes I would just like, so I had like A period through 5th period, and then there was also a 6th period for everybody else, but for me, for the people who would do the A through 5, like we could just go home. But I chose to like just stay right behind the school sometimes, just like draw whatever was there. Like there's interesting houses, and there was a page with a bus. I also drew that bus there. So just like literally find the time to draw and just like sketch anywhere. And while it might not be good because you want to pay attention to class, draw in class too, because your classmates are honestly really great subjects, because when they're paying attention, oh, that's the time to draw, because they're not going to move. So you can like just spend the time and really just keep on practicing. And I would say you learn the most about how to draw the human body when you actually draw it in practice. Like you don't have to necessarily like I was going to take this community college figure drawing class, and I ended up dropping that after a while because the commute was a lot. But they started teaching us like all the names of the different bones, and I was like, I don't think this would help me too much. Like it might help a little, but at the very end of the day, like I feel like just keep on drawing and like get a good sense of how the figure and the forms of everything works, and that'll help you a lot. Any more questions? Oh.
Do you need to show improvement in your class?
Oh shoot! Okay.
Or just like all the good stuff. Because I heard class needs you to see your ability to draw a lot in like short amount of time.
I didn't answer the question. So I think you. I mean, it's a good idea to show that you're improving. Like when they see that you're improving by the end of the sketchbook, like they'll tell like, oh hey, like you're drawing a lot, obviously. I'd say like, because the sketchbook takes a while to fill up, and like they don't have like a certain number of pages that they require for the sketchbook. Like there's no maximum, there's no minimum, and you can even send them multiple sketchbooks. Oh, I have my flipped book actually that I also submitted along with it. They also really liked seeing that, I think. Like when I was talking to Jonathan, he was like, oh, if you have any examples of animation, like that's a good thing to show. Where is it? Is it? You know what? But I think like if you're drawing at like a 3-month period, you probably will improve, or even like a 4-month period. So like I was really stressed out during that time because I was like, hey, I'm not sure whether or not like I'm starting the sketchbook early enough. So I kept on like starting and just restarting the sketchbook several times, like you can tell, I told you about. And I'd say just keep on drawing, like, and then just like submit at the very end of the day like what you think was the best sketchbook out of the batch, and have it be a done deal. Like it's I don't think it's like as necessary or as big of a deal as it is to like show improvement. Just keep drawing, I think, is like the biggest thing. Yeah.
Wait, as far as like trying to show improvement in your sketchbook, I honestly don't think it matters that much, because like I know some people who like, because you know how like the first page of the sketchbook is like kind of stressful because like you want to show like your best like, sketchbook page, or like you can't control like the order of the pages. Like some people do like pages at like random, they don't do it in order. So I think it's like just up to you, and like don't try to like, you don't have to try to like show improvement, like try for that. It'll like, yeah, as Jonathan said, like it'll happen naturally. Like don't stress out too much about the sketchbook, honestly. Just like show yourself.
Yeah, it's really not as scary as it turns out to be, like as it seems online and other places. Any more other questions? Yeah?
The figure drawing classes that you guys mentioned about Tuesday, are they just college level classes?
So they're kind of like, I think for the San Jose State one, like you should know a friend to get into there, because
For San Jose State, it's like Well, for San Jose State, it's like drop-in, so it's not like a class. It's just like a session. It's like 3 hours, and they just have like one model. If you just go like and pay, no stay.
Oh, you don't need to register.
Also for the Berkeley one, it's pretty much the same deal. I think they have this like unspoken rule about like you shouldn't really be there if you're under 18, but like but I have like a lot of friends who still go there, and like as long as like you show them, so I kind of just made a Google document like, oh hey, I consent to my son being a da-da-da-da-da, and then like have my dad sign it, and they were like, oh okay, that's fine. I think they're pretty chill about the entire situation, as long as you're like not there and like making a big giant ruckus and big noise, like and you're there to, and like really respectful to the model and like drawing, and like you still pay, like they don't really mind you being there.
Oh, okay. So how do you find out whether there is a session?
So for Berkeley, there's a session pretty much every single week. I don't think they have it during. I'm not sure if they have it during the summer because they usually only have it when the campus is open. Like during winter break, they had to close it because, or like close it for a couple weeks for winter break because the school also wasn't in session, I think. So and like there was no staff to open the doors, so like that. But it's every single week for Berkeley, at least on Friday and Saturday. So Friday is 6:30 to 9:30, and Saturday is 10:30 to 1:30, I think. Yeah, it's that sounds right. All right. So it's always like 3 hours long, and it's $5. So just make sure that you bring your money, your supplies, and I always take the BART over there, and it's really convenient to go there. It's at Kroger Hall.
So they don't hit you, you just go.
Yeah, but I think that's like very helpful already, and I feel like I also learned a lot from just being at CSA. Like they also have. Oh, okay, time. Any more questions? No, you can ask me after if you have any.